Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Global Bites and Nutritional Insights. This month, we are focusing on spices and herbs, exploring how flavorful additions can enhance nutrition, reduce the need for added salt, and support overall wellness for all of our older adults. We'll take you on a culinary journey through the rich and comforting flavors of Portuguese cuisine, featuring a delicious dish and recipe prepared by our very own Chef Mario. Plus, stay tuned for a Q&A with our registered dietitian, where we will share simple and practical tips on how you can use herbs and spices to bring more flavor and health to everyday meals. My name is Tristan Perry, and I am the Director of Marketing at Trio Community Meals. Joined with me today is Chef Mario Reyes, our Director of Culinary and Innovation, where again he will prepare our Global Bites recipe that highlights bold, comforting flavors of Portuguese cuisine. We're also joined by registered dietitian Veronica Gober. She is going to share practical tips on how herbs and spices can enhance flavor, reduce sodium, and support your overall wellness. But first, let's dive into the rich culinary traditions behind Portuguese cuisine. Portuguese cuisine is known for its comforting flavors, fresh ingredients, and deep rooted cultural heritage. With an emphasis on olive oil, seafood, legumes, and vibrant herbs, it offers nourishment alongside a strong connection to the land, sea, and tradition. Staples like cod and sardines, beans, and cabbage are featured in beloved dishes, from simmered stews to grilled sardines and baked casseroles. Cooking techniques such as braising, baking, and grilling help to retain both flavor and nutritional value. Aromatic herbs like bay leaf, parsley, and garlic are used generously, offering anti-inflammatory and antioxidant benefits while adding depth and richness. But Portuguese food is more than just what is on the plate. It's often a reflection of simplicity, community, and heritage. Meals are often centered around the table, bringing families together to share time-honored recipes that have been passed down through generations. The cuisine balances nourishment and pleasure, combining humble ingredients with bold Mediterranean flavor. Today's recipe embraces this timeless tradition. As Chef Mario is preparing our featured dish, let's take a moment to really appreciate the essence of Portuguese cuisine. Honest, flavorful, and deeply rooted in both culture and well-being. As the largest senior meal vendor in the country, where we produce over 125 million meals a year for older adults, we engage with those seniors on a daily basis. Our registered dietitians frequently receive questions about food, ingredients, and health. And so today we thought we'd address a couple of those questions as it relates to overall wellness, spices, and Portuguese cuisine. Veronica, the first question is, how can herbs and spices improve nutrition without having to add salt or fat?
So herbs and spices add bold flavor without the need for extra salt, sugar, or fat. And they also come with added health benefits like antioxidants, anti-inflammatory components, making meals more nutritious and enjoyable.
And are there specific spices or herbs that are especially good for older adults?
Yes, so turmeric, garlic, ginger, and rosemary are especially beneficial, and they can support brain health, digestion, and inflammation, all of which are important for aging well.
Thank you. And what are some easy ways that we could support older adults to encourage them to start cooking with more herbs and spices?
Well, as always, start small and then try adding fresh herbs like parsley or basil to soups or vegetables, or sprinkle cinnamon on oatmeal or fruit. And then remember there's pre-mixed salt-free spice blends that can also make it easy to experiment.
And finally, let's talk about specifically Portuguese cuisine. In a lot of the cooking, it uses olive oil, garlic, and herbs. How do these ingredients support one's overall health?
So olive oil is a monounsaturated fat, which is great for heart health. Garlic and herbs like bay leaf and parsley are packed with antioxidants. So together, they help support cardiovascular health, immune function, and flavor without that added salt.
Thank you. I hope all of you, as our viewers, found this part of our segment to be helpful and inspiring as you explore new ways to add flavor to your food while supporting your health. And before we see Chef Mario in action, I'll pass it back to Veronica to share a final few thoughts on how herbs and spices can add not only taste, but also nutrition and wellness in our everyday meals. Veronica?
Thank you, Tristan. So, understanding the difference between herbs and spices can help you make the most of their unique flavors and health benefits. So, herbs, these are the green leafy parts of plants used in fresh or dried form. Examples are parsley, basil, cilantro, and chives. And then spices, these are the non-leafy parts of the plant, the roots, bark, and seeds. And these are used in the dried forms only. So, examples are cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, and paprika. So, as mentioned, herbs and spices are rich in antioxidants, which are compounds that protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals, which reduce the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, cancers, and even diabetes. So, herbs and spices with the highest number of antioxidants include cloves, peppermint, allspice, cinnamon, oregano, thyme, sage, rosemary, saffron, and tarragon, which that's a very large array of flavor profiles. So hopefully you'll find one of those that will benefit one of your dishes, which that kind of segues into the spices and herbs that add flavor, they boost health and they inspire creativity. So let's see how we can inspire creativity in our staple foods. So, coffee and tea, instead of using a sugar cube or stevia, you can use turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, mint, and lavender. I like to do a couple of drops of vanilla extract in my coffee. Hot cereal and yogurt, instead of just adding a sweetener, honey's wonderful, but you can also add cinnamon and nutmeg, even allspice, cardamom, and cloves. And then for soups, stews, and pastas, instead of just adding salt or garlic salt, well, let's amp it up with, the garlic or the garlic powder, parsley, basil, and bay leaves. For meats, instead of using those salty, heavy sauces, barbecue sauce is very popular, but it's very high in sodium. We can use chili powder, rosemary, cilantro, and black pepper. I like to marinate my chicken breast in balsamic vinegar. It adds that little bit of tanginess to it. For seafood and fish, instead of just adding seasoning salt, you can add paprika, dill, black pepper, thyme, and basil. So I'd like to spotlight cinnamon. Cinnamon is very popular. The flavor is naturally sweet. For health, it supports your blood sugar balance. And you can be creative. You can try cinnamon in a savory dish. So remember that herbs and spices have a functional or wellness benefit. Remember they're anti-inflammatory. They have support digestive health, immune support, and heart healthy. So, spices and herbs, they add flavor, they boost health, and inspire creativity. So, let's find out what Chef Mario is cooking in his kitchen today.
Hello, everyone, again. Welcome back to my kitchen. Another exciting episode of Global Bites. This is actually another exciting, topic. Think about it, though. I heard Veronica and Tristan talked about all these herbs, spices, every little one of them in there that makes actually blends in nicely itself to get rid of salt and add more flavor to it. So today we're actually doing peri peri chicken. It's a big tradition chicken over there in Portugal. It's the whole idea is just think about it is trying to add all the spices that's involved in there into the protein, but then at the same time utilizing the herbs and blending dry spices also. Okay, what is peri peri chicken? Peri peri is actually a chili. Okay, it's a chili itself. Think about Tabasco. Over there they use peri peris all over the place. Think of it here in the United States. We use Tabasco. We use all these other from Cholula, all these other spices that we have. A little heat that we add to it, or even hot sauce or anything. But over there is peri peri, which has a little bit of vinegar. You add some vinegar, you add some citrus to it, you add some dry spices, and then everything in there, and you blend it together and mix it right and blend it itself, so that we can put it and rub it into the protein. Okay, so that's what we have. As you can see itself, herbs, dry herbs over here. I have a little display. as you can see in itself in there. And then at the same time, some of the other herbs over here, I'm sorry, the spices, and then some of the other herbs are from rosemary, thyme, basil, a little parsley, all the spices that Veronica and Tristan mentioned. So let's get into it. What I'm going to do right now is actually the number one thing you want to do is make sure your meat is marinated. Your meat has to be, it is very, very important how we blend the spices and everything together. So look at that. I have right now a little bit of dry thyme. Okay, I'm putting it on. Use a big bowl. I like to use a big bowl because we are going to be mixing the protein and everything that's involved there. So I want to make sure you do that in there. Okay. And then now I have a little bit of oregano. Okay. Dry oregano. Okay. And then from there, we're going to put our main thing that goes on. And that is going a little bit of paprika. Paprika is very, very important to go out because it gives the color once it browns off. Peri peri chicken in Portugal, it's actually a roasted chicken. That's exactly the peri peri chili itself, and one of the tradition over there. Besides the seafood, when they do chicken is roast chicken there. And then what I have here is a little bit of cayenne pepper. So think about it. What I did is I added cayenne pepper and paprika to make my peri peri. Does that make sense? Because the one thing is that we don't have that peri peri pepper here, but we can make our own spices based on exactly what Veronica and Tristan mentioned. Okay, a little bit of brown. I have a little bit of brown sugar here. All it is just to kind of give it a little bit of. It's going to give it caramelize a little bit on the once I mix everything together. Okay, now I'm adding the moisture, which is vinegar. Okay, I have vinegar and I have some citrus, which is the lemon juice. Okay, so I have that in there. I'm going to blend it in together. They mentioned garlic. Look at that. Don't be shy with the garlic. Okay, don't be shy with the garlic. We are just mixing it all in there and adding that. And then, of course, some of the good fat that we talked about. Veronica mentioned olive oil. Olive oil is very, very important. That's what they use over there. And then, of course, a little bit of pepper. As you can see itself, I didn't use anything. There's nothing here that has any sodium or anything at all, right? There is no sodium. So all I'm doing, look at this. All I'm doing is mixing it up together. Okay, mixing it. It has a nice color. The whole idea is I had to blend in all the spices together, and we're all set to go. I have a chicken leg right here. Actually, it's a quarter chicken leg. They have the thigh. Okay, it has the thigh and also the leg. Nice combined together. All I'm going to do is make sure you rub the chicken. Okay, make sure you rub the chicken right in the spice. Look at this. The whole idea is you want to make sure. That's the reason why I chose the big bowl, just to make sure everything gets blended nicely together. Okay, and just put it on. All I'm doing, as you can see, is making sure it has the whole flavor profile. All I'm doing now is putting it right on the tray. Okay, what I have here, and then what I'm going to do now is I am going to go and just make sure the whole mixture goes on top. Okay, as you can see itself, I need to just make sure this I wipe this a little here so that way I don't have any of this of the mixture right on my bowl here. As you can see, look at that. But what I'm going to do now is everything: garlic, herbs, the seasoning, the moisture, everything that's there. And I have what I call a peri peri chicken marinade. Okay, normally I would put this in the fridge, leave it in there for a couple of hours. If even overnight is great. So you always think of that. I'm gonna go all I have is in a preheated oven. Right now, all that whole spice is gonna blend in nicely itself. It's gonna have a beautiful color on top of it, and it's gonna go. Okay. So now in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go and start using some of Veronica's and Tristan's ideas with the whole herbs. Fresh herbs. Okay, so what I have here is I'm actually have a potato. Okay, red skin potato that I'm going to go and just normally you will bake it, and the recipe calls for bacon. But I wanted to also show you a way of us trying to incorporate everything together here, that it will blend in nicely with the potatoes. You can bake the potatoes. I pre-boil the potatoes. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Okay. Once again, the good olive oil, right? That's exactly the good thing for you. That's olive oil. That's what they use over there. Okay, I have a little bit of rosemary. This is just in the backyard. That's all. If you're able to just grow, with the rosemary, Veronica mentioned that's good for you. That is huge over there in Portugal. And then obviously a little bit of thyme I got here. And all I'm doing right now is just a little thyme, basil. I'm mixing it together. Okay. And all tossed together. I'm going to go is add the potatoes. Okay. Look at that. What I'm doing right now is just adding the potatoes and mixing it. All I'm doing, tossing it together with the olive oil. Okay. Adding it together with the olive oil. And then what you want to do is here is put a little bit of the herbs. Very nice. It looks very nice itself. Once you put it in there, once again, you can go ahead, toss it, and you can roast it in the oven. It's okay. I chose to roast in the, like I said, in the recipe calls for roast, but you can also just have it, toss it in the pan on a pre-boiled potato. Okay. So I have that right there. Now I have some garlic. Very, very important itself to add some garlic to it. And then right after that, I have Veronica mentioned about pre-mixed herbs. Think about it, okay? That was great. It was great to have a great information in itself. How do you actually make it, right? So this is actually what I call this is a lemon pepper, okay? So you can buy a lemon pepper itself. It's already mixed. In the lemon pepper, it has a little bit of turmeric. Veronica mentioned what's good for you, for the seniors, what's out there that also has a nice flavor. So what I have here, as you can see, I'm adding a little bit of lemon pepper right into the potatoes. So you're going to see a beautiful color. Look at the beautiful color that goes with the potatoes. Who needs to roast it? If you think about it, when I can toss it together with the herbs and with the herbs and all, obviously the seasoning, dry seasonings, the chickens in the oven, as you can see. Okay, now I'm gonna have is a little bit of parsley and toss the parsley together. Once again, one of the good herbs that they use over there is parsley, right? So you want to use some parsley that goes together with that. Okay, so I have parsley. Okay, look at that, beautiful. What I'm doing, I'm turning this off. The potatoes look good. Now I'm adding the parsley right into it. It's gonna be nice and beautiful and green, tossed together. Okay, so I have the potatoes right there. Okay, and now I have obviously the chicken in the oven. We all know that takes a while, right, to cook the chicken itself. So as you can see, now what I have here is, look at the chicken. I have a beautiful, beautiful chicken that's been actually cooked already. Okay, it's been cooked. I want everybody to see how beautiful itself the chicken is with the colors. Look at that. Has a nice, the garlic, the herbs, everything on top of the chicken here has been cooked. It's been ready to go, and this way we don't have to worry about it, as we wait. Since we're doing this quick little video here to make sure everybody knows the way we're doing. All I'm doing right now is here. Now I'm gonna place the potatoes itself. Leave the skin on the potatoes. Potatoes is good with the skin on. Okay, they're nice. They look good and they taste good, and they all have some good vitamin itself. Look at that. All I have right now is the potatoes tossed together with all the spices and herbs. And then, of course, what I have now is the potato and the chicken right over here. All I'm going to do, going back to the topic and some fresh herbs, all I'm doing right now is placing a little rosemary right in the middle of here. And there you have it. There you have it right now is a peri-peri chicken. Tristan, let's take a look, please, at the recipe. Let's take a look at the recipe itself in there and just see exactly, just let everybody see how easy it is. Look at that. All I have, as you can see, I added all the herbs, spices, and everything together. Just mix it all, the dry spices. Remember, dry spices mixed together with the olive oil and obviously a little bit of acidity, which was the vinegar and lemon juice. Mix it all together, wrap the chicken on top of it, place it in the oven, make sure it's obviously marinated ahead of time if you can, and then after that, just roast it on top of it, okay? On the side of the potatoes, this is one of the best potatoes you can have. You can call it lemon potatoes if you like, a little bit of lemon spice in there, or you can just have a nice, what I call, this dish is peri-peri chicken with roasted herb and garlic potatoes. Once again, from my kitchen to yours, happy cooking, Chef Mario.
Thank you so much, Chef Mario. I will leave the recipe on the screen for a few seconds in case you'd like to screenshot it and make it at home. And if you do, we would love for you to share it on social media and tag Trio Community Meals. Again, thank you so much, Chef Mario, for sharing your culinary expertise with us. And also thank you to Veronica Gober, our registered dietitian, for her thoughtful insights and guidance on how you can use herbs and spices to support flavor and your wellness. It's really an honor at Trio that we are able to prepare meals for older adults across all of our communities. We are committed to bringing you recipes that are not only delicious, but also culturally inspired, like today's Portuguese dish. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.